Good evening, sports fans, and welcome into this edition of the Greene Room. I'm Garrett Greene, bringing you all the latest scores and information regarding the various sporting leagues. And tonight we have a reaction to the second and third round of the draft. I promise I won't take it at about 8 minutes like I did last night. Not complete analysis, just a couple of picks that we have going on. We got NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and Major League Baseball still happening, so we'll get right into it with the talk of the day, and that was the second round of the NFL draft. Now, of course, one of the main things we have to touch on the first round going on, Cam Newton was down in Carolina today, and he was introduced, had a press conference, said he was very motivated and he was a winner and he was going to get right on it, and he did by spending 5 hours with the coaching staff working on all the plays that they're going to be running. He got a playbook, and right whenever he left the building, like 10 minutes later, guess what? The NFL lockout is back on. Yes, you heard it, folks. Just when we thought we were getting out of the woods of this thing, no, alas. Politics, bureaucracy, law, it all has to get back in the way of us just having football. So, as the commissioner came out tonight, he was rained down with boos yet again. The commissioner did not make every pick tonight. They had guests making the pick, but he was booed pretty consistently. So we get to a little bit of second and third round coverage. We'll start with that right now. Starting off, Cincinnati took Andy Dalton with the third overall pick in the second round, so it proves that they're pretty much moving on from the Carson Palmer era. They're ready for him to either retire, and it doesn't look like they're going to trade him. And then another surprise for the very next pick as the San Francisco 49ers take Colin Kaepernick with the fourth overall pick in the second round. So maybe they're ready to move on from Alex Smith, realizing that he was a bust being that number 1 overall pick in the draft back in 2005. Now, a couple of other significant picks. Titus Young goes to Detroit as the 12th overall pick in the second round, and that is a steal right there. You get Calvin Johnson and Titus Young, a good deep threat. He's a special teams player. Detroit has looked really smart in their draft this year. Tampa Bay picked up Daquan Bowers with the 19th pick in the second round, and Daquan Bowers was a lot of people called a top 10 talent. Actually, at one point was projected to go in the top 5. Even with the initial releases, it was between him and Nick Fairley going at number 1. So very interesting that he fell so far, but questions about his knees and whether it was injured or not, it will turn out that could end up being a steal for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers there. Now, the New York Giants did another good job drafting tonight. They get Marvin Austin, the defensive tackle out of UNC. Now, we'll all remember that he didn't play this season because of everything that happened with the University of North Carolina Tar Heels, but he is picked up as the 20th overall pick in the second round. That's another one that could possibly pan out well for the Giants. A couple of other notes. Detroit, continuing their good drafting, picks up Mikel LaShore, who had a fantastic career and a fantastic season at Illinois this year. He was picked up with the 25th overall pick in the second round. And then New England does a little bit of draft day magic. They pick up Stephen Ridley, the running back out of LSU, with the 9th pick of the third round. And then the very next pick, they also had it, and they're the ones who take the gamble. They take Ryan Mallett to sit behind Tom Brady and learn. And if you have a player who has questions about character and what's going on, New England is the exact place for him to go. He'll get coaching under Bill Belichick, a no-nonsense, fantastic coach. Despite the fact that I don't like him, he is a fantastic coach and gets to learn behind arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, who's still in his prime in Tom Brady. Now, he'll have to sit there for a couple of years. Brady might have about 4 or 5 years left on the tread, so it'll be interesting what happens there. Maybe a little bit of a Matt Castle effect, gets to go somewhere else. Not that we're wishing that Tom Brady tears his ACL again. We hate to see that out of anybody. And a couple of selfish picks for myself. The Dallas Cowboys did pick up the running back out of Oklahoma, DeMarco Murray, in the third round with the 7th pick that they had there. And, of course, the Texas Longhorns had a couple of guys picked up. Aaron Williams went as the 2nd pick in the second round to Buffalo, and Curtis Brown was picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers with the 31st pick of the third round. So a couple of Longhorns coming off of the board. Well, that's all that we have for the NFL draft. So let's move on to a little bit of what actually happened in the sporting world tonight, and we'll start with the NHL playoffs. I figure a lot of people aren't NHL fans. We'll get that out of the way really quick. But for those of you that do care, the Lightning topped the Capitals 4-2, and the Sharks topped the Red Wings 2-1 in an overtime. So that is what happens there. Now for the NBA playoffs, you only had one game going on tonight, and that was Game 6 between the Spurs and the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies came out looking for this one on their home floor, and it was a tough game all the way through, really tight. I mean, the scoring margin was pretty even just about all the way through, but with about 3 minutes left, Memphis goes on a 7-0 run after being down 1. Zach Randolph puts the team on his back, proving that he deserved that contract extension, scores 17 points in the fourth quarter alone. It was Kevin Durant for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was Derrick Rose for the the Chicago Bulls, and it was Zach Randolph, Big Zebo, putting the team on his back for the Memphis Grizzlies. He finishes the night with 31 points and 11 rebounds. Tony Parker, 23 points for the San Antonio Spurs as the Grizzlies upset the number 1 ranked Spurs 99-91. They advance on to the next round of the playoffs. They will play the Oklahoma City Thunder. That should be a great matchup there. You have two young franchises who are going up against each other. It should be very interesting to see. Now, Major League Baseball is what we'll wrap up tonight with. We have a couple of headlines from the league. You have Roger McDowell, the Braves pitching coach, who earlier in the week was accused of making gay slurs and crude gestures to fans, allegedly grabbing a baseball bat and asking a fan how much he liked his teeth. Very, very threatening stuff there. He is on administrative leave, and if it didn't get worse for the Braves, well, tragically it did, as Derek Lowe was arrested for DUI this morning. Suspicion of DWI. Apparently he was racing another motorist this morning, so rough going there for the Braves. But we'll get on to a couple of scores for you really quick. The Rangers fall to the Athletics 3-1. The Padres and the Dodgers are still going on right now. It's 3-1 in the top of the ninth, so by the time this is up, that game will probably be over with about that score. As a matter of fact, Jonathan Broxton is pitching. It's a 2-1 count with 2 outs, so we'll check back with that by the time we get to the end of these scores. The Indians defeat the Tigers in what was one of the most dramatic finishes of the baseball season so far. Carlos Santana hits a walk-off grand slam with 1 out in the 9th inning. That's the first time that Cleveland has seen a walk-off grand slam in their home stadium since Jim Thome did it back in 2002. And credit the Indians here. They were actually down 3-0 and 5-2 at 2 different points in this game, so great job by them battling back. The Nationals defeat the Giants 3-0. The Yankees the Yankees fall to the Blue Jays 5-3. The Phillies beat the Mets 10-3. The Mariners top the Red Sox 5-4. The Marlins beat the Reds 7-6. The Angels top the Rays 8-5. The Cardinals beat the Braves 5-3 in 11 innings. The Orioles bounce the White Sox 10-4. The Brewers take it to the Astros 5-0. The Royals beat the Twins 4-3. The Pirates top the Rockies 3-0. And the Cubs beat the Diamondbacks 4-2. And checking on that Dodgers game, they are still sitting there. It is a 2-2 count. Jonathan Broxton is pitching. And so we are waiting on a final score for that one. It should go final here in just a couple of minutes. Well, no Greene Report tomorrow night. No Greene Room tomorrow night. I'll be calling Texas softball, and then I'll probably be done for the game. Tune in tomorrow night, though, for Texas softball versus Oklahoma. It should be a great game. The audio broadcast is limited if you have a subscription. If you're close enough to the stadium, though, tune in to 90.9 to hear myself and Lane Zeben on the broadcast. Until then, have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and hook 'em horns.